I promised you yesterday that I would show you how to clean this thing up and make it look good. So we didn't do that before we left yesterday. So I just wanted to take a few moments and do that. Let's run up to the top of this one. And I am going to start off by doing an insert. You guys are all here from yesterday, right? This is what we did yesterday? I have a lot of blank stares, so that's why I'm wondering. I can usually have a pretty good indicator when people... What? I'm just go to 4.1b, bravo. Okay? And I'm going to highlight the top here, and I'm going to insert one row, because I want to put over here, page, and I'm going to put 1. And then I'm going to highlight my general journal all the way across, do a merge and center, blow it up a little bit bigger, maybe make it bold, I don't know. And now we want to put a double line below this. Why? Because I gotta. So I'm going to go in here, pick double line for my border, put it on the bottom, and we're starting to make it look like a general journal. I like it. You can't see the double line up here, and I apologize. It's the crappy resolution of the screen, but if you watch it on YouTube or you want to, I use the double line border, which would be found right here. That is actually 2 lines. And then you click this one down here. Next, I am going to put, let's see here. Well, we're just going to put lines over everything. So I think what we're going to do, I should have probably just done this first, is highlight all of it. And then I'm going to put all borders. And it got rid of my double line. I knew it. Jerks. So I'm going to go ahead and put my double line back up here. Where is it? And then I'm going to run down this side here where the 1s are through the 66. And I'm going to go back up to more borders. And I'm going to pick a double line. And this time I'm just going to put it on the right side. That way I have a little double border over there. And because I did that over there, I'm going to do it over here also, all the way down. So we're going to go double border, or more borders. We're going to do on the left, double line. Click O to the Kazay. And then finally, I'm going to just grab these 3 sections right here. And I'm going to double border the vertical lines. So everything that's vertical, I'm going to just tap and put double lines on. And when I click OK, it looks like that. And finally, the last little piece to make this perfect, oops, I'm hitting Control, is to highlight this whole section. And we're going to make one fat line on the right. So I'm going to go back up to my more borders, do more borders, do the thick line, and I'm going to click the right. And then when I click OK, that is a mighty fine little general journal. And because I just built it, I can copy it and use it in the next problem, which makes me muy happy-o. You all right there? Mm-hmm. Paul still hasn't shown up. If I have to write the second half of that A in black, I'm not going to be happy. We ready? Everybody got this? Okay, while we're waiting, I'm going to pause this so everybody in the world doesn't have to watch it. Sure. All right, so moving on, we're just going to duplicate this one. So I'm going to say move or copy, right mouse click on that. I'm going to create a copy. It's going to be in front of sheet 2. And we're going to click OK. I'm going to rename it to 4.2b. And this is going to be problem 4.2b. In the book, this problem says, let's journalize and post transactions. In June of 2013, Wallace King opened a photography studio that provides services to the public. and private schools. His firm's financial activities for the first month of operations and the chart of accounts appear below. So this is his first month of activity, and we have his chart of accounts. Why do we care if his chart of accounts are there, Nathan?
So we know where the money is going and coming out.
Well, we know what accounts we have to use. We don't have to make anything up. I love it when they give us a chart of accounts. It means we don't have to do anything except make sure they fit into these 10 or 15 things that they've given us. Perfect. So we're going to start this problem with the general journal, and we're just going to do exactly what we did for problem 1. I'm going to say that it's still 2013, but now we're dealing with June 1st, so I'm just going to put my first date in here because I know I'm switching over to June. And I'm going to delete this so I know that I need to start up here. And I'm actually going to delete all of it except for the dates. I'm doing this because the dates are going to help me know where the entry was. Paul, welcome.
You said you're going to wear the moo-moo today.
A lava. And that's the bottom half. And I'm wearing jeans. No. All right. You lied. You said you were going to wear a button down.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. I was just checking.
I'm going to wear the...
So let's go ahead and start up. Why don't we start with Jerry this time? Jerry, what happened on June 1st?
Wallace King invested $16,000 in cash in the business.
So what's going to happen?
We're going to debit cash
Cash gets debited
for $16,000.
for $16,000.
Credit initial investment in credit for $16,000.
But what are we gonna credit? Like what account on that chart of accounts? What are we gonna do? It's got to be one of those things listed at the top of the page there.
Capital.
Wallace King Capital.
Wallace King Capital.
Yep. And it's gonna get 16,000. Dang, I deleted all my equals. Makes me mad. Now I don't. 16,000. What was it? It was Wallace King Capital equals 16,000. And we're going to say initial investment by owner. Great. Nathan, what date are we on?
We are on June 2nd.
Perfect. What's going on?
Let's see here. Issue check 1001 for $900 to pay the June rent. And so the debit account is rent expense,
Because an expense is always a
debit, which always comes on the left, for $900.
okay.
And then cash is going to be credited. And our description is paid June's rent. June's rent, or June rent.
Great.
Check number
Oh yeah, we need a check number. Good job.
1001.
Wow, I'm struggling this morning with my typing. Well, we roll Tide. I saw that suit coat last night again. My wife wasn't with me. I was really tempted to buy it. I didn't. But I have this lady I know that does really cheap embroidery. I was thinking about getting it and having her put a big old A on the back. But I thought my wife might divorce me. She already thinks I'm a little obsessed. I know. All right, Ashley, you're not here, so we're going to skip to Ken. What date are we on? June 9th. 5th, there you go, okay.
Purchase, desk, and other office furniture for $3,750 from Brown Incorporated. Received invoice 5312, and it's payable in 60 days.
Okay. So what's going on the debit side?
The debit side is $3,750.
Okay. For what account?
Cash. And the credit is $3,750.
Cash? And then what's this one? What are the accounts I'm doing?
Oh, the debit side.
You said debit side cash. Okay. What do I credit side?
$3,750.
Okay, but for what? What account? We're on June 5th.
Oh, it's on. There's something for the invoice of 50.
What's happening to the cash? Let's talk about that, Ken. What's happening to the cash?
Wait a minute.
Hold on. No. Go ahead. What's happening to the cash? Is it coming in or going out?
It's going out.
Okay, so do we debit that or do we credit that?
We credit that.
Okay, so cash can't be the first one. Cash is going to have to be our credit. So we know cash is going out, but have we spent cash? No, we owe it in 60 days. So cash can't be part of this equation at all. So we're going to eliminate the cash. So are we getting anything? Are we owning anything when we get done with this transaction?
Office furniture.
Okay, so that sounds like an asset to me. So office furniture, because assets go up as a debit. And then do we owe anybody anything after this?
We owe. I guess the place where you bought the equipment.
Yeah, Brown Inc., that company. So would we consider that a liability? So we would put this, oops, wrong one. We would put this into accounts payable. And we would say something like we purchased office equipment from Brown. I'm actually going to do F2, Brown Inc. I hit Alt-Enter to do a second line there. Invoice 5312, due in 60 days. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm struggling on my typing today. I'm sorry. I had the Taco Bell burritos.
Oh, the breakfast one?
The grillers. You know the new ones, the $1.29 ones? Because they keep putting them? What? Oh, 50 days. Come on, people. Don't have that as a breakfast for champions. You know, I skipped Jack in the Box one day and look what happens.
I still want to try that Taco Bell breakfast.
Yeah, no. The AM Crunch Wrap with the steak is killer. It's like one of the best things I've had for a breakfast thing. The breakfast burrito, the scrambler, whatever they call it, that thing's pretty bomb too. The little grillers, they're like just grilled versions of the McDonald's ones. I mean, they're kind of crappy. Got runny eggs in it. It's nasty. It's not like the other ones. The AM Crunch Wrap, I was actually impressed. Ronald McDonald was right on that commercial. So, thank you, Taco Bell. Please sponsor my podcast feed here. No, sorry. All right, next one. Nick,
Number
what date?
the 7th of September, we're going to be...
Wait, 7th of September? We're in June.
June.
June what?
I'll put September. Anyways, 7th?
Well, we're skipping a date.
Oh, okay.
6/6.
I don't have my book open.
Ah.
We're paying for the photographic equipment.
Yep, we bought some
So,
photographic
office
equipment.
Equipment, debit side.
Office equipment. I see photographic equipment.
Yeah,
That's what you meant? Okay, photographic equipment. How much was it?
$950.
$950.
And then cash is on the credit side.
And then cash over here.
And then paid for photographic equipment, check 1002.
Check 1002. Excellent. Nice and easy. Kevin, you ready? Bring some heat.
So on June 7th, you purchased supplies for $238, paid with check 1003, and you're gonna debit supplies. And then you're gonna credit cash for $238.
Like that? And it was for what? Bought supplies, or paid for supplies. Check. I'm going to guess 1003. Well, it is sequential. So I was thinking my last one was 103. Maybe this one. Jennifer, ding ding.
So for June 10th,
June 10th.
issue check 1004 for 200 for office cleaning service.
So what is it?
Is office cleaning expense to 200
200 even?
and then cash?
Cash. Then what do? We paid for office cleaning. Check number what? 1004? Man, I can guess those things. Priscilla, you ready for us?
Kind of. I have stuff on this one.
That's all right. That's why we're doing it together.
Perform service.
Wait, what date?
Oh, sorry. June 12th.
12th.
Perform services for $650 in cash and $650 on credit.
These scum-sucking pigs. They gave us a double entry. Can't believe they did it to us. All right, so what are we going to do? What do we debit? I'm going to cheat really quick. I'm going to take my 32 line and I'm going to say insert. There we go. Or my 27 line, excuse me. Well, it's 32 on the left. Okay, go ahead. What are we going to debit?
Is it accounts receivable or?
AR. I'm just going to do what you tell me to. Okay. How much?
For $650.
650. Okay. Then what else do we do?
And then,
It even tells us use one compound entry. But they're messing with us because this time the compound's on the debit side.
so is it cash?
There you go. Cash for what? There you go. And then this just needs to be equal to this plus this. Okay, so what are we crediting?
Fees income?
Fees income. And what do we put down here? We performed services for cash and credit. Something like that. It's not too hard. Yes, Ashley. Wrong! No, I'm just kidding. What's your question?
Oh, never mind.
That didn't sound like a question. It sounded like the beginning of the Beach Boys song. Wouldn't it be nice if we were older? Oh. Okay, so does that make sense to everyone? Now, Mr. Tuck's looking at it a little confused. He would say, Mr. Greer, shouldn't we be debiting, in theory, the most liquid thing first? Yeah. Would you get this wrong? No. But if we were to do it perfect, we probably would have done cash and then AR. Is that what you're going to ask me, Mr. Tuck? No? What are you looking at there?
Well, you're getting, okay, well, never mind.
No, let's walk through it. What?
We're getting, we performed $1,300 for services, okay? I put, we're debiting $1,300 because, and then on the credit side, we're crediting cash and AR.
Well, we're taking away cash then, and we're taking away accounts receivables.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean,
So you had the right principle, you just got to flip it.
Yeah.
Now remember, fees income is always going to be a credit. That's a good little shortcut. When you see fees income, it's a credit. Unless you're refunding some fee, which is a rare thing that might happen 5 times in this book, okay? So for all intents and purposes, when we see that we're performing services, we should instantly have a brain map that says perform services, fees income. And then when we hear fees income, we should say credit. That should just be a mind map that we build. Now, how do you do that? That's up to you. That's what we're here in college for. So we're studying. Yeah, so once again, an expense is always a debit. So if we have an income, the opposite would be true. An income is always a credit. Okay, because those are diametrically opposed. We can't have an expense that's a income for us. So when we hear an expense of anything, when we're spending money on an expense, very important that's an expense, it equals a debit. When we hear perform services, we should think instantly fees income. Because we know that fees income is going to be part of that. And then we should think right after that, credit. Now, when we do fees income, it can come in two ways, typically. This can have an opposite side transaction of cash or accounts receivables. So these are just like little things that you have to just memorize. Well, you don't have to. You could sit here and do it. But if you memorize these, it makes problems that fast. I mean, you should just be able to say, oh, perform services equals fees income, which means it's going to be a credit, which means I'm also going to debit one of these, because these are then debits. And you will have your entire transaction kind of thought out in one fell swoop. Now, could it be cash and AR? Yeah, we just did it. We took half the money. I did that all the time in my construction business. We go in, somebody give us a down payment for securing the job, and then when we got to a certain spot, we would bill them for another piece of it, and then at final, we would bill them for the last final piece of it. That happens all the time. So they might have accounts receivables, but they owe it to us in 30 days, or they might pay for part of it up front. So yeah, but you had the right concept. You just got to flip it around in your head. And this is, I mean, the reason I tell you an expense is always a debit is because I think that's something that helps you keep all these things in order. So when in doubt, if you're dealing with income and expense, just think, what would Mr. Greer say? And he would tell me an expense is always a debit. So can I debit fees income? No, because it's the opposite of an expense. So just try to put those little concepts together, and I think that'll help you out a lot. All right, Mr. Smith, what do we got here?
June 15th, return damaged supplies, received a $75 cash refund.
Look at that. They're hitting us with another one of these toughies. I like it. Bring it. Okay, so what do we got? Yeah, this is a stumper. I think we did it yesterday. Didn't we do it yesterday?
I don't think so.
Was it last week? Okay, last week we did one of these then. What's happening to our cash? Let's think about cash.
It's,
Increasing or decreasing?
it's being credited.
Is it increasing or decreasing?
Increasing.
Increasing. And does cash increase with a debit or a credit?
Debit.
Okay, so cash is going to be our debit. And then what's the other one? Supplies. And it was 75 bucks?
Yep.
Boom. And then we're going to say that this was for return damaged supplies.
I was saying that the person returned damage supplies. I was looking at it.
No, it's saying that we did.
Yeah.
Our company, we took it back because we bought them earlier and they were damaged. So we took them back and we get a refund.
I was looking at it as somebody was bringing us back.
Oh, yeah. So this was us doing it. They usually give us a pretty good indicator of stuff that happened prior in the problem. That's a good way to think about it, too. All right, Mr. Smith 2. Or wait, that'll be Mr. and Mrs. Smith. You're Angelina Jolie. Come on. So, I know he has the same facial hair. Just kidding. What date?
June 18th. Purchase computer for $1,025 from Craft Office Supply. Invoice 304. Issued check 1005 for $500 down. Balance payment is due in 30 days. use one compound entry.
Uh-oh, we got a compound, so I'm going to come over here and pop me a little, boink, one more down there. Perfect, I like it. So what are our transactions? What are we debiting?
We're getting a computer and we're paying,
So if we're getting a computer,
but we are paying.
but if we're getting a computer, let's stick with one piece of it at a time. You're overcomplicating. We're getting a computer. What account can we talk about then?
Office equipment,
Office equipment. Now, is it going to go up or down?
it's gonna go up.
Is it an asset or a liability or equity?
It's asset,
It's an asset. So when we go up in an asset, what side is that? Debit or credit?
debit.
Debit. Good. So we're going to say office equipment for 1025. Now, are we going to, it says it's a compound entry. Do we have something else that has to be debited, or do we have two credits?
We have two credits because it's gonna be a payment and then it's gonna be accounts payable.
So cash, is that correct? Because
Yeah.
we just made a payment. And how much did we pay?
500?
500. Now watch, here's my little trick here. I'm going to say we know this one, and we know minus this one. So I know that my other account is going to be 525. Like I know that that number is going to be there because I just did the math for that one. So that's mathematically done. I don't have to do the math. Once again, we don't want to have to ever do math. We want to know the concept. So I know that these two have to equal that one. So I can just do my quick little math equation. This minus this is going to give me the number that I need to equal that. And what's our second account that we're going to do?
Accounts payable.
Accounts payable. And we're going to say that we purchased what?
Purchase computer for 500 down, check number 1005.
Purchased computer from Kraft. Alt enter. Invoice 304. Check 1005 for down payment. Balance payable in 30 days. Word. There we go. All right, Miss Longa. What are we doing? What date?
The 20th.
6/20.
Issued check 1006 for 2100.
Stop. Right there. Issued check 2106 for how much?
2100.
So before I even hear the rest of it, what do we know is happening right now?
Paying out.
What? Cash is going out, right? So if we have cash going out, what part of the equation is that? Debit or credit?
Credit.
It's a credit for cash. So I'm just going to go down here. Before I even read it all, let's break it down. Like we can take little pieces of everything that's said and we can say, okay, I know that cash is going to get credited because I'm paying. So I've already solved half the problem. What's the other one now?
As payment on account for office furniture.
And when I hear payment on account, I'm going to think one of two things. Well, it's either going to be an accounts payable or accounts receivable because I hear the word account or credit or didn't pay with cash, something like that. So since we're crediting cash, what do we have to be doing on the other side?
Debit.
Debiting what?
Accounts payable.
Accounts payable. And how much was it?
2100.
$2,100. And it's to Paid Brown Inc. on invoice 53.
Check number 1006.
Oh, I keep hitting the 2. 5312. Check 106. It's this Taco Bell Diet Pepsi is not nearly the kick that Jack in the Box Diet Coke is. That's giving me a headache. I'm not getting any of the hit, and I'm getting all the headache.
So you learned that stuff is originally a poison?
No way.
Yep.
Shut the front door.
Yep.
I can only take what you tell me with so much grain of salt because you've been wrong on so many other things, though.
Use your Apple PC.
Okay, I was just making sure. All right, Nick, I'm messing with you. Thank you for not wearing the hat today, by the way. All right, what do we got?
Performance services for 1,000 credit.
As soon as we hear performance services, what are we going to think? No. We're not going to ever think cash. We're going to instantly think what? Fees income, which we're going to say is a credit. So I'm not even going to hear the rest of it. I'm going to come down here and say fees income. I know that piece of this is going to be fees income. I love it. Okay. And what was the other half of it? Now you can read me the rest of it.
See, where was it? 26 performance service for 1,000 on credit. That's
Accounts receivables. I love it. And how much was the money? 1,000? I'm going to say this equals 1,000. I got my compound entry from the last problem here. I'll just delete this. In fact, let's just get rid of this whole line here. Ooh. And then what's the description? Performed services for credit. And I didn't change the date. What's the date? Excellent. All right, Mr. Tuck, take us into June 27th.
27th of June, paid $209 for monthly telephone bill, issued check 1007.
This one's like clickety clack.
We're gonna debit telephone expense. We're gonna credit cash, and both of them are gonna be for $290. And it's gonna be paid telephone bill, check 1007. Did my homework last night.
Bam. Okay. Well, if you did your homework, then do the next one. Let's hear it. Yeah, let's hear it. What do you got? Wait. What date? What date?
550 in cash from credit client on account. So what we're gonna do, we're receiving cash.
So we're getting some cash in. Good.
We're getting some cash. So we're going to go credit accounts payable.
Okay.
Okay, for 1,050.
Okay.
And you're going to say receive cash for credit clients. Let me do the next one.
Actually, I want to correct you. I'm going to ask Nick if he can correct you. This Nick over here. Accounts receivables.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I said accounts receivable.
You said accounts payable. I type it as you talk it. As YouTube is my witness. This is like my wife when I'm like, hey, when we die, we can go to heaven and see the video. We can see the video now in this class because I have it. Okay, so AR, perfect.
All right. The next one.
Sure.
So, okay, issue check 1008 to pay monthly utility bill for $275. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna debit the utility expense.
Utilities expense.
We're gonna credit cash.
Cash.
We're gonna for $275.
$275.
And then we're gonna say in the description, pay utility bills, check 1008.
Perfect. Are we on our last one?
Last one.
6:30 again. What's this last one?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Bring it. Bring it.
issue checks 1009 through 1011 for $2,800 for salaries.
Okay.
So we're gonna debit the salaries expense. We're gonna credit the cash for $2,800, and then you say paid salaries with check 1009 and 1011. Yeah.
I would have rather worked for the other company. They were paying way better. The one yesterday. It was 2 people for $9,000 every semi-monthly or whatever. That was a way better job. So, okay. Now, let me show you really quick. You don't normally do this. So this is by no means a normal thing to do. But if you get done with your homework, you just want to make sure you did it all right. You come down to the bottom here, you say equals sum of everything above it. Close that parentheses, and I'm going to copy and paste it over. If these two numbers match, that means all your debits, all your credits are balanced. A little trick, so we can see, hey, now that doesn't go in the journal, so I have to delete that. But that's just a little indicator on, just to make sure at the end of what you did that your homework is right. Okay, so your journal's right at least. So we got this all done. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Perfect. Now we need to make it a ledger. But it is time for a break. So let me pause this. All right, so now we're going to do the ledgers. I am going to skip on over just to the right of this so that I could do this. I could technically do it on another sheet, but if I do that, then I'm going to have to go back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to try and make this a little bit easier on myself and just build a ledger over here on the right side. This is 4.2 because we're supposed to do a journal and then we're supposed to do the ledgers. So I'm going to type in here, general ledger. And the way this works is we're going to have an account. We'll leave a space there for the account. Then we're going to have, let's just kind of build this as we go here. We're going to have dates. We're going to have a description. We're going to have a posting reference. In fact, I'm going to do post, alt, enter, ref. And then a debit, and a credit. And then we're going to do, actually, I need to scoot this all down one. I screwed up. So I'm going to copy this, or cut it, and then paste it down one. There we go.
It's the same setup as the other one, right?
No, it's not. And then debit, and then credit. So I have to have balance up here. So I'm going to go ahead and merge and center my balance. I'm going to merge and center my general ledger. And then I'm going to put account number over here, account number. And let's see here, what else do I need to do? Do I really have something splitting there? Oh yeah, posting reference over there.
How do you make it give you the extra line again?
Right mouse click over on the number and then say insert.
Where it says post reference.
Oh, alt enter when you're typing. Now, our first one here, I'm going to go ahead and build this. I mean, we should have lines. Let's just do lines. What the heck? I'm going to do from here down. I'm just going to grab a bunch of it, put lines in all of it. Sorry. Whoops, I don't want them diagonal. That's not what I want. I don't know why I didn't just do it with the button I pressed, but that's okay. Okay. We can make this look prettier later, and we will. But all we're going to do is we're going to come up here, and what is our first account number according to this problem? It's in the book. Probably make this a little bit bigger. 114. 101. What's that account?
Cash.
Cash. This one's typically going to be our biggest one. Now, all we're going to do is a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. All we're going to do is we're going to take our dates. So we're going to start off with 2013. We're going to say June. I'm going to go ahead and just put them in there right off the bat. And I'm going to say the 1st. I'm going to go over here and look at all the transactions that have cash in them. See this one? It says cash. What's the question? Stupid! It's the computer this time. Yeah. We can go back and fix the borders later. All right, so then I put June, or 2013, I put June, and now I'm gonna go find all of the dates where cash was involved. Now when I do that, all I'm gonna be doing is posting it, transferring it to the ledger. So I need it to go in the right appropriate area. For instance, if I go look at June 1st, I can see that cash was debited 16,000. What page is it? Page 1. So my posting reference is going to be J1, because it's page 1. I debited it, so I'm going to hit equals. Let me scroll up here a little bit. Can I scroll up? There it goes. Equals, and I'm going to come over here and take it directly from this. That way I know there's no transposition error, that I haven't typed it in wrong. Fantastic. So 16,000. Now this is the individual transaction section of a ledger, as we learned. But this is the running balance. So if we had no beginning balance, because this is the beginning of a company, what should the balance be as of right now? Debit or credit? Debit, because we're going to add up what we have over here. Now, if I'm not sure what it should be, how can I find out what it should be, debit or credit?
Go back to your journal.
Or a very simple way in this class is to flip to the back of the book and see the section that says normal balance, and you will always have your balance on the normal balance side. That's where it should always be. No, we don't need to put a description in. That's what's wonderful about it. Now, once we've put this here, we come back and we say, I've posted it, 101. That posting reference right here means that I've transferred it to the ledger, which also means what? It's become permanent. Now, what we could do is go down and do these on each one if we had all of our ledgers ready. We don't right now, so I'm going to kind of do it out of order, and I apologize for that. We're going to find all the ones that have to do with cash, exactly. So we're just going to sit here and say, oh, here's another one right here. Cash on what day? And what is it, debit or credit? It's a credit. So we're just going to come over here and say the second from J1 is a credit equal to that amount. Now my balance is what?
16 minus 900.
I love it that you're thinking about what it is, not what the number was. That's perfect. So I'm going to show you a really quick formula to build and use from here on out. If it's on the debit side, you're going to use this formula. If it's a credit side transaction, we're going to reverse the formula a little bit, but just watch. So I'm going to say this equals, my balance is going to equal whatever the balance was before, plus any debits, minus any credits. I know that just popped everybody's brain. That's why I said it slowly. I'm going to take my beginning balance. So I'm going to say equals my beginning balance, or the balance right above it. And if it's a debit, I'm going to add to it. So I'm going to say plus anything that's a debit. But if it's a credit, I'm going to subtract from it. So minus anything that's in the credit column. Now, I don't have anything in the debit column, so I'm not going to do anything. It's a plus 0. Who cares? But I can take this and draw this thing down, and it will work on every single transaction after this, because it will do the adding and the subtracting. Yeah. Aha! Zotalo! Mais oui!
Okay, we push enter, and then we just copy that all down.
I hit enter. Now, it's automatically tabulating it. So as I go down, I can just grab this bottom right section of the box, click it, and drag it. And it's going to see my balance is still 15,100 because I haven't done anything to it. So as we continue to go through this, it will automatically figure out the balance. Once again, I'm not doing the math. I don't want to do the math. You can be a very good accountant and not do the math, because that's what computers and calculators are for. Of course, we probably want to have a little bit of aptitude in math, but I'm trying to teach you to be lazy right now and smarter with Excel.
You know, can't we do same way? Just,
You know, I wasn't going to say it, but yeah, we could just drag J1 down to all of these as we get done, but we're going to do it as we go, and yeah, so yes, the answer is yes. I like where your head's at. You're thinking, how can I make this simpler? So let's go ahead and jump over here. What's our next one that has to do with cash? Oh, but we got, every time we put one in, we got to come in and do our posting reference. So we're going to scroll down here, and here we go. On June 6th, we have a debit for, or excuse me, a credit for cash for $9.50. So I'm going to come back over here, say the 6th. It's on J1. And I'm going to come on over and say equals my $9.50. Goes right to my $9.50. Everything's auto-tabulating over here. It's automatically working. So, yeah, now I just want you guys to get to this point in your head. So anybody that does the bachelor's in business, you take a couple finance classes. And last night I was helping somebody do an insurance thing. And he was having a real hard time doing all the stuff. And I said, well, write it out just like it's in the book. Because it had example problems. And we sat there and he had 4 homework problems. And so we sat out and we made an Excel spreadsheet that looked exactly like the table in the book. And then I said, instead of typing numbers in, let's make it all formulas. And so I said, what are you going to do with this? He's like, well, I need the beginning premiums and I need to multiply it by 20. So I said, well, let's make a cell that says annual premiums and then how many years. And so he said equals annual premium times the 20 years, and he did all this stuff. Anyway, we did one problem the 3 different ways using the information on the left, and then he was able to do the next 3 problems of his homework in about 4 minutes because he just changed the numbers and it all calculated for him. So don't work harder, work smarter. Okay? If you can figure out how to do this and conceptualize what you're trying to do, you can always make it turn out better for you in the end because it'll just do it automatically.
So 4 through 17, how did you get all those 14.15s?
I just drug it down. I just, at the bottom of any of these, you just click this and then drag it down. It copies that same formula down. It's relative. It moves the formula every cell. Okay, next one. What's my next? Oh, and I got to come back to the 6th, and I've got to put in cash that I posted that to the ledger. There was nothing on the 5th. We're just doing cash right now. Well, that could be a problem. Yep. So now we're on the 7th. We got $238 of supply. So I'm going to come up here, put down the 7th. This is on J1. My whole thing's on J1 because I did it all on the same page. And I know it's 238. Enter. It's all calculating over here automatically as we go. We're going to come back, put our 101. Now, I'm going to see if I can zoom out just a little bit here and see if I can get it all on the same page. I might not be able to. It might be a little tiny for everybody. So this is small, I'm sure, but I can come down and say, okay, I just did my 238, so I did my 101. What's my next one? My next one's right here on June 10th. So I'm going to come up, say the 10th, J1, it equals a credit for 200 for the cleaning, enter. I'm going to come back down here, put 101. My next one is a debit for $650 on the 12th, so I'm going to put the 12th equals $650. Am I going too fast? Okay, I'm stopping right now. What was the other credit column for? What do you mean? This one? That's if it's a credit balance, we would use that side. So the general ledger is the same on each. So we're going to go down as soon as we get to liabilities. That's going to be the side we use instead of the balance on the debit side. Maybe I can zoom in just a wee little bit. Did we all get to the 12th? Well, then you're dead to me. What's up, Michael?
My computer's going slow. I mean, this is not.
Close your internet. Right mouse click, say close Chrome or close whatever you use. Firefox. That explains it all. This one?
So you have both on credit and debit, the 650?
Or
On 12?
on 12?
Or are you just basically putting the 650 for the cash?
We're only doing the cash account right now. So we're only touching things that say cash. We're going to go back and do the accounts receivables next, but I'm trying to show you without getting you too confused. We're just finding transactions that affected the cash account. Because what we want is the balance of the cash account. That's what we're trying to get to. Because if we have the balance of the cash account, what can we produce from that? Starts with a T, ends in a trial balance. Trial balance, that's right. So that's right. I'm glad. At least something's getting through to you guys. All right, we ready to move on? Okay, on the 15th, what do we have here? I'm going to put J1 down. Was it a debit or a credit? It was a debit. So equals the 75 right here. I'm going to come back, put my 101 on that, meaning it was posted. On the 18th, I have a credit. So I'm going to put J1 here. Yes. Of cash, enter. It usually works when I come by, it gets all better. Okay, I'm going to walk back. It just needs to feel my presence. My mom just says, "Can you come fix my computer?" I just have to stand by it, and then it works. Somehow it works, magically. All right, so we've got the cash there on the 18th. I got to come back and make sure I put my 101 here. That's how we know it was posted. On the cash. We're only doing the cash. Next one's on the 20th. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 20th. It's a credit. So I'm going to come over here, J1 equals. Now, I just noticed on this one, nobody even caught it. I put this in as a debit, but that's actually a credit. So you got to make sure it's on the right side. The 500 for the 18th. Then the 27th. What was it? Was it an expense? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 27th is a credit. And I need to make sure that I've posted all these. So the 27th, I posted this one, and I posted this one. That's why usually you have all your ledgers over there and you do one transaction at a time, just both sides of it.
So 21's credit?
On the 27th, I did this one. Well, you do wherever cash is. If it's a debit, you do it there. On the 30th, it's going to be a debit. On the 30th, it's going to be a credit. And then I've got one more credit on the 30th. J1 equals I need to post all of those. I mean, right now we're all thinking, thank heavens for QuickBooks, right? So we should end up with our ledger looking a lot like this. And I didn't even have this all the way down, so I'm going to have to drag it down a couple more. Bing. So what is my ending account balance for cash?
9,522.
Thank you. That's exactly what you should say. It's the last balance number. It's not the 2,800. If you hear what's the balance of the account, you're going to look in the balance column, and the last number is the balance. Now, if I said, what's the balance of the cash account on the 15th? Thank you. You know, just if you hear balance, you're going to look in the balance column. If you say, what was the cash transaction that took place on the 15th? You would say a debit of $75 in the cash account. That's exactly what it is. So transaction is the stuff on the left. The balances is the stuff on the right. Everybody get that? Yes.
Correction on the 18. How come you use the $500 instead of the 525? Because the check is the 500.
That's why, because that's cash. 18th, the cash account was 500.
So what-
That's why.
You
right
get
here.
950.22.
So the cash, hold on. The cash right here is $500. So I put it in the cash account. Whatever this number is, or whatever this label is right here, is what we're doing right now. So we don't care if it says anything else besides cash. Right now, we don't care. We're only doing the ledger for the cash account. Now we're going to go back in and we're going to do the next account, which is 111, accounts receivables. We're going to do the exact same thing that we just did. What was your question, Paul?
You got 95.22 for your final balance?
Yes. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm going to highlight this. This isn't the most beautiful ledger, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to get, I don't know, down to the 12th. I'm going to hit copy. Then I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to change this one to accounts receivables.
So you got to create a new one every time you change that.
Yep, 111. And I'll show you how a lot of them work with like 5. So we'll make, what we'll probably do on next week is create, or maybe even the beginning of accounting 102 is we'll create one of these with a good template as the cash with the right number, and then we'll have like 5 or 6 of the other ones. So now this is AR. I want to change the account to 111. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to delete all these transactions or all these things because these are probably not applicable. I'm actually going to leave my formula over there. So I didn't delete everything. I'm going to leave my formula in here because it's going to work. I know it will. And as a principle, as a concept, will my first transaction in this account be a debit or a credit?
It's going to be a debit.
Why?
No, yes, it's going to be a
Why?
debit. Because you're performing services, they owe you money.
But I'm saying, I don't even know what's happening. In this account, in accounts receivables, will my first transaction be a debit or a credit? I don't know any of the transactions. Why? Why will it be a debit? It's on the left side. But what does that have to do with anything?
Debit's always on
You're on the right side. You're on the right track. Not the right side, but you're on the right track. It's normal debit balance, which means we have to start off with money on the left, or numbers on the left. We can't ever go to the right. Then it becomes an accounts payable. It's not an accounts receivable anymore. It's not going to be there, so it can't exist. So I know that my first transaction is going to have to put me over on the left. So without knowing any of the transactions, just understanding fundamental accounting, my accounts receivables is going to have a debit balance if it has any balance. It could be 0, but if someone's going to owe me money, it's always going to be on the left. So we're going to come down here. I'm just going to say my first one equals, so I know it's going to be over here. We're going to come down here till we see accounts receivables. And I think my first one's on the 12th. 650. So I'm going to come over here and say 12th on J1. And look, oh, there's my tally. Now I have to go back over there and put here 111. That means I have posted my accounts receivables transaction right here over there. It was the $650. Are you okay, Jerry? You still look a little confused. I want to make sure you get this. I'm serious. Like, is it all right? So because we're dealing now only with AR, we're going to continue down here. We're going to look. Is there anything else that has AR? Oh, here's an AR. someone owes us $1,000 on June 26th. No, that was a debit. So 26, I'm going to come over here, debit. On the 26th was for $1,000. Enter. Now I saw another one down there. On the 30th, oh, now I got to come back and make sure I type in my $1,000. I got to put 111 because that means I posted it. Now my accounts receivables, I have a credit on the 30th. So I'm going to come over here, put the 30th in. It's going to be a credit, so I'm going to say equals over here. And it's a 1,050. 111. Is that it? And then I am done. I have no more accounts receivables in those transactions for that month. So I can come up here and I can say, great, my balance is going to be that. I'm just going to delete this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these two lines. Shift the cells up, not to the left. There we go. And I have posted all of my accounts receivables transactions. So all I'm doing is I'm going down this list in order in the book. My next one's going to be what? Supplies. I know I'm going to have to go through and do an account for supplies. I'm going to highlight this. Copy. Your biggest one's always going to be cash. Then the rest of them are going to be small. Paste. So I'm going to make this one supplies. Account number 121, is that right? 121. My first transaction happened on what date? The 7th. For how? Now, what do I know right off the bat? What is my first transaction going to be, a debit or a credit? Why? No, supplies are assets. But same concept. If it was an expense, we would know that it's going to be there, okay? But what were we going to say, Mr. Tuck?
Quick question. How do you, okay, I created more cells than I needed. How do I delete the bottom?
You can go like this. You're going to grab whatever you don't need, highlight it, right mouse click it, say delete, and sure, shift cells from the left. It'll pull some cells in, and it's gone. Sure, left or up. Because you have nothing off there, so you understand the concept of the shift cells. It's going to take those cells from somewhere else because you have to fill in the space. So if you say take them from the right, it's going to fill them in. If you were to say take them from the left, it would pull your whole journal in, so you don't want to do that. Yes?
How do you get, when you make a new one, or if you have extra data on your sheet, how do you clear all the data?
You highlight it, and you hit delete.
Does that still keep all the equations?
No. Then you would want to highlight like right here, say delete, because now your equations are over here. So I will, for the sake of it, yeah, these two were different. Delete that, and I don't know what these are going to be, so I'll delete that. So there. I know my first one's going to be debit. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it here.
It's always going to be post-reference Jan 1?
Well, not always. It's just what journal page it is, but because we made one long journal page, I'm keeping it journal 1. So it could be J2. Okay, so our first one on June 7th was what? Supplies were $238 worth of supplies that were purchased. So enter, and I'm going to come back up here and put what?
121.
121, that's right. Posting that transaction. I love it. Come back down here. We're going to say this next one is on what date? 15th. It was a debit or credit? It was a credit for the $75, right? And so I'm going to come back here and post that as under supplies as 121. What'd you do now, Mr. Tuck?
My computer is still acting up.
Don't make me come over there, HB. Don't make me come over there. Roll your eyes at me, I'll roll your little head on the floor. I'll talk back to it, okay? What's it acting up as?
Because I can't, I put 7 here and I'm trying to.
Okay. And what are you trying to do?
Okay, my push rep.
Yeah, it's thinking. You're doing something. Do you have it on like saving every 5 seconds or something? Oh, you just lost all your homework. What's going on down here? 3 messages. Your computer's crying for your help. It's like, help me, Michael. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look at that afterwards because there's something going on. You're running something in the background. In fact, watch this. Well, you might not be intentionally running it. It might be malware or something like that. Come on. Come to Papa Bear. Come here. Coochie, coochie, coo. It wasn't doing well with the talking dirty to it, so I got to talk nice to it now. All right, I don't know. We'll have to address that because we're burning through time here. And it's all on YouTube. You can come follow me around late at night in your skivvies. You can take me anywhere. Bow wow, chicka chicka wow wow. So, okay. So Mr. Greer was talking and he started talking dirty. Okay, so we've done that one. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and kill this bottom one so I don't have to have it here anymore. Delete.
It's barbecue time.
It's snow cone time. So supplies, then we're going to go to what next? Office equipment. 141? Okay. First date. June 5th. So we can see that office, wait, furniture or equipment? What did I just write? Oh, so we shouldn't have put this down as office furniture. We should have put this down as office equipment. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and debit that thing. I'm going to delete this one. Equals office equipment of a debit of $37.50. And it, what? It's 141, right?
131.
141. According to the book, it says 141. We're going based on the book. And then we can come down here to one more office equipment somewhere. I'm looking. Here it is. No, there is no 131. So my next one's going to be this one, which is the 18th. Oh, look, it's really close. And it's going to be a debit also for the 1,025. And look at that. It's already calculated out. This is awesome. Make sure you put that number back there so you can see this posted. I think that's it for office equipment. And so we're going to go ahead and grab office equipment, copy it and paste it. I want to get to a liability. It's going to be photography equipment. That's account 151. I'm going to go ahead and just delete this so we can do those later. And then we're going to jump into accounts payable. AP, which is going to be account number what? 202. Now, the difference on this one is that it is not a debit balance. It is a credit balance. So we're going to have a totally different formula. That's why I want to show you this one before we leave today. So June 5th is our first date, right? What was it? We have office equipment and we owe $37.50. So we're going to say credit balance of $37.50. I'm going to click on it up here on the 5th. In fact, I should be zoomed out for that, but I'll do that again in a second. And now, instead of, because I know it will never be a debit balance for accounts payable, it will only be a credit balance. So what's the formula for this one on our next one? Oh, well, this one's actually going to equal this. But on our next one, what's it going to equal? Annette, write me the formula. I don't even need to know numbers. What's this one going to equal right here? Wait, hold on. Let's see if Annette can get it.
Are we gonna start with the balance on top of it?
Okay, so this balance
I guess minus debit
minus the debits
plus the credit?
plus any credits. That's perfect. That's exactly what it is. So last time we started with a debit balance, we added debits, we subtracted credits, but because we're on the credit side, the debits are a subtraction and the credits are an addition. That's it. It's not overly complicated. We just want to keep the same sides together. So let's find our next one. Oh, wait, we got to go post that. So AP was 202. So let me go up here and do 202. Let's go ahead and find another accounts payables. I scroll down. Accounts receivable. Oh, right here. On the 18th, $525, and it's a credit. So on the 18th, it's a credit. 525, and using Annette's formula, it worked. It added it up for us perfectly.
So what was the formula again?
E minus MC squared to the 12th. I'm just taking, that doesn't make as much sense. You're taking the credit balance minus any debits plus any credits. Rocket science is what it is. We're going to go up to the 18th. We're going to say, oh, good, we put this one in, 202. Oh, here's an accounts payable, $2,100 for a debit. I'm going to come down here and say, what was the date? It was the 20th. J1. And we're going to pay it down, so we're going to do it as a debit. And it was $2,100. So my ending balance for accounts payable is going to be what? $2,175. That's right. That's exactly what it is. Now the good news is, because we've done this one, now we can use this for all of our credit and or our liabilities and equities. So this one would be what? Our next account after accounts payable is, well, it's key in capital. And that's account number 301. So I'm going to pause right here.